Okay, let's talk about not the bookstore, but let's talk about some books that I sold, some items that I sold on eBay, and why I sold these items, and some Amazon stuff. So, these two items sold on Amazon. The reason I've been selling more, this is merchant fulfilled through Amazon, is because I've been repricing each each time I go in to ship a new item. I will go in then and reprice, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 different items. Um, Sometimes it's the same ones over and over, and then they eventually sell. Sometimes it's different ones, but I do get in there and reprice each day, and that's made a massive difference in my Amazon business. Um, at some point, I will get a repricer set up so it'll do it automatically, and I won't have to do it, even though 10, 15 minutes a day is not a big investment, but nonetheless, it still is something that I do that's made a big difference. I've gone from selling 5, 6, maybe a week, literally a whole week, to now selling usually more than one a day. So more than I've more than doubled, probably close to tripled my sales on Amazon just by repricing once a day. So it just shows you the power of that, and not even having to set up or pay for a repricer, you can have a huge impact on over 100% return on my time, or in terms of selling more. It's just about having good stuff as well. Of course, I try not to. I do not list low-priced items on Amazon unless it's selling really fast. But even though an item might be selling pretty quickly, it still doesn't mean that it's going to sell quickly for you. You've got to make sure and price it right. And if you don't have a repricer to get in there and reprice it, you can't be repricing all the time. But it's amazing what just doing it once a day makes. I can imagine if you were to do it 2 or 3 times a day, even on your own. But it's probably more than worth it. Definitely more than worth it to save time and effort by getting a repricer. It's just a matter of the challenge is setting it up in the right way. And I don't know how to do that yet. So once that gets figured out, for now, this is working really well. And it's pretty exciting stuff because I've gone from Amazon income essentially not being zero, but being really, really, really small. And now it's gotten much more impactful. I went in yesterday, I had 578 items for sale on Amazon, merchant fulfilled. And again, a lot of those are much older, priced very low, that probably shouldn't be in my store. But I just don't set aside the time for that. I could set aside the time, but I just have not set aside the time to get rid of those items that may never sell or will sell for next to no profit. I'm just focusing on the ones that I have listed in the last 6+ months that are better items, and trying to sell those as get the sell-through rate much better with those. Sell those for much more, or much quicker rather. Now the rest of this stuff is all eBay, and want to talk about the importance of, for me, the importance of running sales, markdown sales. So you can find an awesome item that looks like it's going to sell, whether it's quickly or long tail, and you can price it even right, and it still doesn't sell. I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if you're selling books or if you're selling VCR DVD combos, or if you're selling golf clubs, or if you're selling sneakers, or if you're selling 1990s vintage wrap tees, whatever it is, you think it's going to sell based on all of your experience and what eBay is showing you. And guess what? It still doesn't sell when you think it will. It still doesn't. I don't care how long you've been doing this. I've been doing this 10 years. I've been on eBay for 8 years. I've really gone much bigger on eBay in the last 5 years, so it's quite a while. On Amazon for 10 years, and still, even with all of my experience, things don't go quite according to what you've done what you've seen in the past, your experience, and what eBay is telling you based on your research. I don't care how much you know. Every single seller, even the number one seller in a category, still is not able to sell through as often as they would like. And guess what they're doing? They're all running some sort of sale at some point on the items that have not sold. Oh, this should sell within 60 days, 90 days. Hasn't sold. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You just going to let it sit? You can, and your inventory is going to grow. And if you have the space, great. But I recommend to sell stuff sooner the better. So if something's been sitting around a while, and it depends on what a while is for you. A while for you could be a month, it could be a year, it could be 3 years. For me now, I tend to think if it's not sold within 90 days, unless it's something that's very specialized, like this book here, which is a signed first edition of a rare book. See, it's signed there by, where's the author? Alva Rogers. I sold that for $100. But that's been sitting around for a couple of years because it's a very niche product. So I expect that to take a long time. But yet I still ran a markdown sale. And that's why I got an offer off of that markdown. I had it listed for $150. I sold it for $100. I'm happy about that. If you're going to wait until someone pays you $150, well, you might sell it for that, or it might take 5 years. But I'd rather get the $100 now than wait an extra year or two. Again, it's up to you. You know, maybe it's hard for you to come by inventory, but nonetheless, you know, what I mean by that is it's hard to find, it's more expensive, so you have to try to get top dollar. Then you maybe need to not sell certain items where you're not going to make as much profit, because turning it over quicker is going to make you more money in general than waiting it out. Unless you have really high price stuff, unless all of your books are going for $100, you have nothing for under 100, or let's say 200. You know, you always sell your stuff for over $100. Well, you either have to build a really big inventory to have regular sales, or run some markdown sales. So I just do like 20%, 21%, something like that off, and often they will sell for that amount, or I will get, what do you call it? Most of them do sell for the 20%, 21% off. I've gone as high as I think 27%. I've done 15%. All of it works. Some people will pay you that amount straight up, or they'll make an offer on that markdown, on that percentage off. And the bottom line is, I want to sell these items. So like this one's been around a while. This one's been around a while. This one's been around a couple of years. This one's been only less than a year, about 7 months. This one's a couple years. This one's a couple years. This one is within the last like 6 to 8 months maybe. So a lot of these are older items that I want to get rid of. That I want to free up space to get new items there, or put new items out. Like I'm listing right now, I have a box of stuff to list. Started working on that yesterday on eBay. You know, I want to sell that stuff. The sooner the better. So yeah, I recommend running, not ads, I recommend running some markdown sales after an item's been up for a little while and has not sold. Again, I always take offers. So that's something I highly recommend. But even taking offers, sometimes it's just not happening. They're not selling. So you need to run a sale. And you can start it low. You can start it at 9%, 5%, and then creep it up every month. Do 5%, then do 10%, then do 15, then 20, and 25, 30 until you sell it off. Eventually you will. I've gotten all the way up to my older items. I'm talking items that are a year plus, some of them multiple years, that have been in my eBay store sitting around. I've gone all the way up to 60% off, and most of them still don't sell. So that says to me that I put the wrong items up, even at a low price. You know, if I had it listed for 40 and now I've got it listed for 18, and it's still not selling, well, you have two options, right? You either keep going down, then you go up to 75% off, then you go up to 90, and then you go up to 99%, whatever it is, or you sell everything for $1 plus shipping, whatever will break even just to get rid of it. And some items even won't sell then. There's just nobody wants them. So then maybe get rid of it, right? You know, have a system where, well, if I get up to 50% off and it doesn't sell, I'm just going to pull it from my store. Or I go up to 75, 80%, still doesn't sell, I'm going to pull it from my store. It's up to you where you want to put your time. Put your time into clearing out your store or into getting better inventory. That's why I recommend just keep on running the sales on the older stuff that's not selling to eventually get rid of it. I mean, this came from, I don't know where it's in there. I think this came from a whole bunch of pistol, handgun, shotgun books, like literally boxes and boxes of them. This is from when I had, this might be from like 4 or 5 years ago, because I know, unless it came from something else, but I know that I had picked up a huge, or received a huge donation of a lot of those books, and this is going back to when I had a storage unit. So that's over 4 years ago. I'm not 100% sure of when I listed this one, but if it came from that, it's been there a long time. If it came from that load. So, and funny thing is, or interesting thing is, most of those items sold really quickly. Like within 3 months, most of them had sold that I listed, and then within 6 months, the overwhelming majority of them, of those reloader gun books, most of them were vintage, had sold. They were very popular. They sold quickly. I sold a lot of them for good money. But this one is hung around for some reason. It's also because it's in rough shape, as you can see. That might be part of it. But nonetheless, yeah, I recommend it. I haven't said it enough here, to run your markdown sales. Do a percentage off. If you're freaked out by doing a high percentage, just start slow. I mean, 5%, I don't know if that's going to move much. I would start at 10 and then go from there. You know, go up by increments of 5%. You'd be surprised by how much of the older stuff you would move. Hopefully this helps, guys. If you're not already doing it, I highly recommend it, because really we are in the selling game here on eBay. We're not in the keeping stuff and hoping it sells. Sell it. All right, guys, see you next video. Take care.